is Madeline, and welcome to this Yin Yoga class for the upper body. So we tend to store a lot of emotions, a lot of tension, stress in the upper body and the shoulders. So hopefully this can relieve some of that, and also just something to be mindful of if anything arises during your practice, just to sit with it and observe it without any judgment. So let's get right into it. We'll start with a tiny bit of movement just to warm up the body a little bit. And we'll do some seated cat-cows. You can bring the hands to the knees. And as you inhale, begin to arch the spine forward, looking up. And then round the back as you exhale. And you can continue like this or take any kind of fluid movement that feels good. So maybe making some circles in one direction and then the other, listening to whatever your body needs. And take one more breath here in this movement. And then return back to center. And we're going to make our way down onto our backs. You might want to grab a couple blocks here. So come down onto your back, and we're going to come into a reclining butterfly with cactus arms. So you can start to bring the soles of the feet together. This is where you might want to use blocks and place them underneath the knees just to make that hip opener a little more gentle, but no worries if you don't have blocks. And then bring the arms to cactus out to the sides, so kind of the arms are at two right angles. So you should feel a nice opening in the front of that chest. If you want more and you know supported fish, you could go for that as well, placing blocks underneath the back. So just settle in here, starting to feel a gentle opening of the heart space and the chest. And make sure you're breathing deeply here. And remember those deep breaths, sending the breath into the heart space. And let's take a couple more deep breaths here. And whenever you're ready, start to release those arms back down by your sides. You can gently place the hands on the thighs and slowly draw the knees back in together. No rush. Maybe you want to hug the knees into the chest and rock them a little side to side, releasing that back a little bit. And then whenever you're ready, no rush, you can press up into a seated position and we'll make our way into a tabletop. So coming onto hands and knees for your tabletop position. Option to take a couple cat-cows here or take any kind of fluid movement that feels good in the body. And then return back to center, to stillness. And we're going to make our way into a thread the needle pose. So try to make sure those knees and hips are in one line here. And then reach that right arm, right hand, fingertips up towards the sky. Then start to thread that right arm underneath the left. So that right shoulder is pressing down on the mat. Again, trying to keep knees and hips in one line. An option to walk those left fingertips out in front of you if that feels good. But we're going to stay here for a couple minutes or so. So try to make sure you find a position where you can remain still. And really send the breath up and down the spine. And let's take a few more deep breaths here. And take one last deep breath. If your left fingertips are out long, bringing them back in towards the face. And slowly start to unthread that needle. Slide the right arm out from under the left and reaching it up and bring it back down to the mat. Maybe just pause here at tabletop for a couple of moments. No need to move unless you feel like it. Just absorbing the effects of that pose and notice the difference between the two sides. Take one more deep breath here. Then we'll make our way into thread the needle on the other side. So again, keeping knees and hips in one line. This time reach the left arm up towards the sky and then thread it underneath the right. So that left shoulder is going to be pressing down on the mat. An option to walk those right fingertips out long if that feels good in the body. You can always do a different variation than you did on the other side. Just trying to find a place where you can be still. And send that breath up and down the spine. And let's take a few more deep breaths here. And take one more deep breath. If the right fingertips are out long, bring them back in towards the face. And slowly start to unthread that needle. This time, left arm reaching up. And bring it back down into tabletop position. Again, you can just stay here for a couple of moments, absorbing the effects, or take any movement that your body is craving. You can always flip the palms and go for a couple cat cows here if that feels good. So, really just listening to whatever you're needing. And take one more deep breath here, and then come back to your neutral tabletop. We're going to come into a melting heart pose. So once again, we're going to keep knees and hips in one line. We're not going to be shooting back into a child's pose. And we're going to walk those hands towards the top of the mat. Option to grip the top of the mat with your fingertips here. Option as well, if you have a couple blocks, you can place them at the top. And you can bring the arms into prayer position, elbows on the blocks. So lots of options here. You can start to walk the hands forward and then melt the chest down towards the mat. So if you're using those blocks, it'll be the hands in the prayer position and chest melting down, which can get a really deep opening in that upper body. So it's up to you. Again, try to find a place where you can remain still. This can be pretty intense, especially if the upper body is really tight or tense. And if you're using the blocks, the forehead might not come down to the mat. That's okay. This one is definitely intense. Remember to keep breathing, trying to melt even deeper into the pose. And let's take a few more deep breaths here. And take one last deep breath. If you have your hands in prayer position, gently let that go. Everyone can stay low to the ground, low on your mat, and just slide back into a closed legged child's pose, arms reaching back behind you. Should feel really nice after that. Maybe you want to rock the forehead side to side on the mat a couple times, massaging that third eye. And then let's just pause here for a few moments, letting the body rest and notice the effects of that pose. And take one more deep breath here. And then slowly start to rise back up, pressing back up onto the hands. And we'll return back to our tabletop position. So removing any props. And we're going to come into a shoelace pose. Now, if shoelace isn't something you want to do, you definitely don't have to do it. You can just come into a cross-legged seat. We're just going to do a couple of arm variations in shoelace, so you don't need to actually be in the shoelace. It can be intense if you don't feel like doing hips. No need to do it. But if you want to come into that shoelace, start to draw that right leg in front of the left so the knees are kind of in one line. Spread the feet wide on the mat and then sink back in between those hips. So knees are stacking on top of one another. You can always sit up on a blanket or a block if that feels good. And if this doesn't feel good, you don't want to do it, you can just come into a cross-legged seat. That's totally fine. And from here, we're going to come into cow face arms. So you can reach that right arm up and then bend that right elbow. So I'll turn to face you. So that right elbow is going to be pointing up towards the sky, and then bend at the left elbow. Try to get those fingertips to touch. If not, that's totally fine. You can always grab onto a shirt. If you have a strap or anything, you can grab onto that as well. And try to keep the head looking straight. This also can feel pretty intense if you have a pretty tight upper body like I do, so we won't be here for super long, but it's a great way to kind of open up the front of the chest and the upper body. And remember to breathe here. All right, just a couple more breaths here. This is hard, or at least I think it's hard. So try to make those last breaths really deep, opening up that back body, front body more. And then slowly let it go. You can bring the arms back down to the sides. You can place the hands on those feet. And let's just pause here for a second. Notice how the body feels. And then we'll come into another arm variation. This time it's going to be eagle arms. So take those two arms and then bring that right arm underneath the left so elbows are meeting. Then you can wrap the arms around each other. Maybe the hands come together. This one is really great for opening that back body as well. And you can move up and down here a couple times with the elbows if that feels good. And really, you can keep moving the elbows if you like, or just come into stillness. We'll be here for a minute or so. And keep breathing. I know it can feel like a lot to hold the arms up. If you're ever in any pain, you just don't feel like doing it, you can always come out of the pose. Let's take 2 more deep breaths here. Taking one last deep breath, and then start to unwrap those arms, opening up the chest wide, and letting it go. Feeling the openness in the body as you pause here for a couple of moments. And then if you're in shoelace, start to come forward back into your tabletop position. You can unwrap those knees. And we'll just come into shoelace on the other side. So this time, swing the left leg in front of the right. The 2 knees are going to be aligned. Spread the feet wide on the mat. And then sink back in between those feet. And again, you can always just do this in a cross-legged position. It's more about the arm variations, but it can feel nice to get some hips in there as well. So we'll come into cow face arms on this side. This time, reach the left arm up, bend at the left elbow. So left elbow should be pointing up towards the sky, then bend at the right elbow, and try to see if you can get those fingertips to touch. If not, that's totally fine. Just bring them to wherever they land. You can always grab onto your shirt or a strap if you have one. And the sides can be really different here, so no worries if it looks different than you did on the other side. And breathe here. Try to look forward. Try to keep the spine straight. And take one more deep breath here. And then slowly let that go. Give the arms a little rest. And now we'll come into those eagle arms. So this time, bring that left arm underneath the right, the elbows meet, and then wrap those arms together. And so the palms are maybe touching. Option 2, move those elbows up and down a couple of times, if that feels good. Or just come back into stillness. We'll be here for a minute or so. Getting a really nice opening along the back side of the body. And let's take one more deep breath here. And then slowly unwrap those arms, spreading them out wide, opening up the chest. And then letting everything go. This time, if you have legs in shoelace, or if you're in a cross-legged seat, you can stretch them out in front of you, maybe shaking those legs out a little bit. And then we'll come all the way down onto our back. From here, it can feel really nice to hug the knees in and rock a little side to side, releasing that back a little more. And then from here, take any final poses or movement the body is needing. So maybe you want to go for a twist, maybe a happy baby. It's up to you. Again, just listen to your body. And then whenever you're ready, no rush at all, start to extend those legs out long. Lie flat on the mat, arms draping out to the sides, and surrender into the earth for your final resting pose, Shavasana. And if you have the time, I encourage you to stay in the Shavasana for as long as you like. If you have to get going, we'll close with one final breath. You can exhale the air out now. Take an inhale through the nose and a big sigh out the mouth. And thank you so much for practicing with me. I hope you're feeling some relief in the upper body. And if you'd like to see more Yin Yoga classes like this, please subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you again next time.